Guys, bikepacking. I know, right? It's getting more and more popular these days, and you can really tell why. You spend the whole day outside. It's really adventurous. It's not all about pace or watts or whatsoever. It's just about having fun and kind of also testing your limits, but in a really different kind of way than road cycling, for example. Which is why I want to do my very first bikepacking trip ever. And I'm taking you on the journey with me. But before you just head out on your bikepacking trip, there are some things you should take care of and some essentials you definitely need. And this is what we will cover in today's video. So basically we'll talk through all the essentials you need on your bikepacking trip. Coming from a beginner to beginners. But before we dive in, I want to say a special thank you to Apidura because they are supporting this project, not just the video, but also the bikepacking trip I'm planning at the moment with their products, which is why we will feature their bags in this video. And one last thing, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss out any upcoming content. Then I would say, let's get started. Basically, any bike will do the job if you want to go on a bikepacking trip, but there are some features on a bike which will make your life much easier. First of all, a more relaxed geometry is beneficial for a bikepacking bike because you will stay long days in the saddle, and having an aggressive geometry will get uncomfortable quite easily. Additionally to that, drop bar handlebars can be beneficial because then you can switch the position on your bike so your hands won't feel numb or anything. Another very important aspects are mounting points. As you can see, I packed quite a lot of things on my bike, and this is only possible because Samantha, that's what I call my bike, has a lot of mounting points. I should really stop personalizing my bike so much, but I just love her, so. Most modern gravel bikes offer several mounting points on the top tube, the down tube and on the fork, and also mounting options to install a rear pack, for example. Since you are carrying a lot of weight or more weight on bikepacking trip than you would without bags on your bike, I would recommend check your gear ratios. I for myself got myself a 2x gravel bike because of that reason. If you prefer 1x, that's also fine. Just make sure that you have enough gears so you can switch to really low gears for climbing and higher gears when you want to speed up a little. The bags is where bikepacking can get really expensive really fast. Basically, you can use any bag which you can mount on a bike that you want to for bikepacking. You can also use a backpack, for example, which I would not recommend because carrying a backpack, like a real proper big backpack, can get quite uncomfortable if you're staying long days in the saddle. And I personally don't like it because I feel I can't properly breathe with a backpack on. And as you can see here, I dressed Samantha in full kit with almost every single product from the Expedition line from Apidura. I will take all the bags with me on the bikepacking trip, of course, and I will give you an even more detailed review about them. Let's start with the rear of the bike. You have two options there. A, you can mount a seat pack like I did here, or you could install a rear rack and then install two bags on each side. You can get this seat pack in different sizes. I have the 17-liter size, so they will fit quite a lot in here. The most important thing to remember is that you pack the heaviest things down here and that you don't build up the whole bag up till here, because otherwise your center of gravity will be way too far back on the bike and this will interfere with your handling. I mainly store clothes in my seat pack and some parts of the tent, which I don't fit anywhere else on the bike. Next on the list is the frame bag. There are several options out there you can choose from. This one here, for example, is a full frame bag, but there are also half frame bags, which are just a size like that. Before you choose a frame bag, you always have to make sure that the bag fits your frame. Therefore, you should measure your frame. I'm using the 9-liter full frame bag from Apidura. Since this is the center of gravity on your bike, the frame bag is where all the heavy stuff should go, like tent poles or cooking devices or a tripod to film yourself with. The top tube bag is my favorite one, actually, because it stores all my snack inside and also my phone, so I have it here like really easy accessible in case of emergencies. The model from Apidura also features a little hole where you can guide a charging cable through, for example, to charge your head unit while riding or to charge your phone, which you are using as a head unit. Last but not least is the handlebar bag and an additional accessory bag I put on top of here. In the handlebar bag you should store light stuff so it does not affect your handling. And the accessory bag is a bag where you can store everything really important, like important documents, travel documents, or additional snacks, or a lightweight jacket or a gilet or rain jacket, which you need to grab really fast if it starts raining, for example. So things which have to be really easily accessible should go into the accessory bag. If you want to stay in a hotel or a hostel or an Airbnb, then of course you have much more spare weight and space you can pack on your bike. But if you want to sleep in a tent or in a bivvy, so basically if you want to do camping, then you have several options. The basics here are a sleeping mat and a sleeping bag. And depending on how sensitive you are to the cold, there are thousands of different options out there. But I would always recommend to you choosing an option which is for a little bit colder conditions than the one you have actually expected. One little tip I have for you is that a sleeping bag filled with downy feathers provides much better warmth than one filled with polyester, for example. And it also has a really small size of packing because you can squish it together real tight. But they are also more expensive. You can also use an inlay for your sleeping bag that will prevent your sleeping bag from getting dirty from your sweat, and it can also provide a little bit of extra warmth. There is special trekking equipment, for example, and you can use that for bikepacking as well, because things for trekking are really small and lightweight because you have to carry them in a backpack, and the same counts for bikepacking. You have to carry everything in small bags on your bike, so less weight and less pack size is the best. Now let's talk about your accommodation. The easiest way is a bivvy, which is basically a waterproof cover for your sleeping bag. But additionally to that, I would always recommend using a tarp, because if it starts raining, you have a rain shelter you can crawl underneath, because nothing is more annoying than waking up soaked in rainwater. The advantage of a bivvy is that it has a relatively small pack size and it's quite lightweight. But if you're sleeping on a camping space, for example, you don't have that much privacy like in a tent, like this one. Again, trekking tents are the go-to because, as I said, they have a really small pack size and are quite lightweight. But there are also special bikepacking tents you can choose. Those tents are as well really lightweight and really small. And some of them also provide the option to mount them on the handlebar, just like a handlebar bag, for example. Also make sure that your tent is waterproof, because as I said, nothing is more annoying than waking up after a, well, good night of sleep soaked in rainwater. If you have the time, or at least you should make the time, build all of your equipment up before you start your trip, just like I did in the backyard here. One more thing I can recommend, because I experienced the neck pain after sleeping in a tent without a pillow, is to get a little inflatable pillow. But you can also use some clothes as a pillow. If you don't need a pillow, then you're good to go to sleep without one. I made the experience. It's better to use one. Although I am trying to escape my everyday life with a bikepacking tour and to spend some time in nature and not being dependent on electronic devices, it is still useful to have some electronic devices with you, like navigation, for example. Of course, you can use your phone for navigation, but I would always recommend using a proper bike computer for that, because they are waterproof, the battery lasts much longer, and they have special screens, or most of them have special screens, so you can also see the display really well when there is a lot of sun, for example. But if you don't have one, your phone should work perfectly fine as well. But then also make sure that you have a power bank with you or an additional charger, so you can charge your phone and also your bike computer, because being lost in the woods without any kind of navigation is it's the worst. Also make sure if you're using a bike computer that you've downloaded all the necessary maps that you need and that they are also available in an offline mode. Otherwise, it's really important to have some lights with you, no matter if it's camping lights you can use inside your tent or lights for your bike. Lights for your bike are really important because you never know what happens. Even if you don't want to ride in the dark, there can always something happen that you somehow run late and you have to ride in the dark. Clothes are a really personal topic when it comes to bikepacking. There are people who love to pack everything they have, and there are people who stay in the same jersey for a whole week. No matter which type of cyclist you are, I would always recommend you to layer up or to pack stuff you can layer up. Always bring a rain jacket on your trip because you never know what might happen, even if the weather forecast says it will be sunny the whole trip. Don't trust it, trust me. I personally find it really nice that you can change into casual wear after your ride, and for that I pack things I could also wear on the bike if it's getting cold. Again, layering is key. One pro tip, bring an insulated jacket on your trip like that because you can wear it as casual wear and also on your bike if you start to freeze. And they are really lightweight and they have a really small size of packing. And of course there are always additional clothes you can pack, like a bathing suit for example. During a bikepacking trip, you will usually stay long days in the saddle, and for that it is crucial to fuel yourself properly. For example, make sure that you always find an opportunity to fill up your water bottles. You can also take your favorite gels with you, but if you're doing a longer trip and you don't have any space for your gels or bars to pack, then gummy bears and bananas work perfectly fine, and you can find them in any supermarket. If you need a guide on how to fuel yourself properly during a bike ride, then you can check out our nutrition video, which you can find here. In general, plan your route around your food. No joke about that. When I planned my route for my backpacking tour, I made sure that I also planned stops at restaurants and supermarkets. If you want to cook on your own, then bikepacking in general is a completely different topic, because then you have to pack all the cooking devices as well, and this will take much more space and weight on your bike. You have to know yourself if you really have to bring every single step of your skincare routine with you on your bikepacking trip. There are some essentials you should definitely pack, which are sunscreen, after sun, a little shower gel, a toothbrush and toothpaste. It's also really helpful to pack a little travel towel like this one, and of course you should bring the usual emergency stuff you would usually also bring to a casual bike tour. Meaning spare tubes, a puncture repair kit also for tubeless tires, a mini pump, a mini tool, etc. If you're riding tubeless, also make sure that you have spare tubes with you, because in a case of emergency, you are really happy to have these. A first aid kit is also really helpful to have with you. There are really small sizes available, which also fit into bikepacking bags really easily. And that's it. Now you actually know everything you should bring to your first bikepacking trip. But before we close, I want to give you some additional tips. Don't overthink it. Try to keep it as easy and also lightweight as possible. You don't need to bring your whole wardrobe, and you also don't have to pack for every single kind of emergency. Yes, be prepared, but don't overcomplicate it. Bikepacking is all about fun and not about thinking about every single thing you packed. And another really important tip, do a test ride before you start your bikepacking tour. Mount every single bag on your bike and do a little bike tour, and that way you know if you overpacked or if you're missing something. And one last tip, before you mount every single bag on your bike frame, use frame protection foil, because that way you can prevent your frame from being damaged by all the bags, especially if there is coming dust and sand beneath the frame and the bag. Trust me, you don't want that. Alright, that's it from my side. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you find this video helpful, and I'm really curious to know if you already did a bikepacking trip, and if you did, what were your experiences? I would love to read that in the comments below. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will keep you updated how my tour will go.